Okay, we'll be getting started shortly. Just gotta finish setting up a couple things here. Hey guys, what's going on? Okay. Here we go. So, I got me a plugin idea here. And we'll be just going around. I'm going to go through the complete setup of just how to start. I've been getting a lot of questions lately, just people asking, how do you create this whole setup here? Maybe use Eclipse. I use PHP Storm just because it's nice and easy to set up there. And in fact, I made a script just to do it even easier. So that's what we'll be using, and it shouldn't be too hard with that. So first and foremost, I'm just going to go to the Discord server here and open up the public files channel here. If you're new to the Discord server, you have to agree to the rules first, and then it'll let you in. But you got public files, then you download this exe. This is the full installer for everything newer than 1.13. So we're going to go ahead and download that. I'm going to put it right on the desktop. That should be fine. There we go. So now we got this, and we got the plugin idea.txt. So here's what we'll be starting with here. Of course, you can just run the exe, and this will go through the whole installer process. By default, it'll give you this pop-up saying Windows protected your PC, Windows Defender Smart Screen. And this is temporary. I have yet to sign the exe file with my developer certificate, so Windows always sees it as unsigned, and that's the reason it gives you this. It's okay, we can run it, and that'll be perfectly fine. There's no viruses or anything on that. So this will give you another pop-up quickly here. Going through the run process. PocketMine installation wizard. So just run through there. It'll go through all the downloads, everything you need. I added some modified start commands just to make sure that it'll automatically stay updated with your, well, whenever you run it. So there won't be any issues with that, especially if you use PowerShell. There should be nothing going on wrong. So I'm going to move that over here too, just so you guys can see. How do you do that? You don't have to. Yeah, so that's the point, is this script makes it for you. The whole thing. It downloads everything right from Git, right from the PocketMine repo, and it makes sure that it's always the most recently updated version. So, I mean, you don't have to do anything. This is just a convenience thing. And I don't need a desktop shortcut because we're on the desktop, so I'll just use the folder here. But after it's done, we'll do the first time setup, we'll run it. It goes right to the command line. English, yes we agree. Sure, we'll skip it, and now it's started. There we go. So now you have our world set up. And by default it loops. We don't need that. I'm gonna stop that. Okay. So now that we have it newly set up there, I'm going to go ahead and open it in PHP Storm. And just go desktop. And PocketMine. There we go. And now it's completely set up there. You have your PHP in your bin. You have your players, plugin data. Everything is here ready for you to use. And there's our FAR. And of course, PHP Storm, because it natively supports FAR archives, you can read into it without having to do anything. You can look at the code if you want, and it's not going to change the FAR. Of course, as long as it's in the FAR file, you can't edit it. So there's no problems. You can't make any accidental changes here. It won't let you write it. But that's going to be good for later development. So next up in our environment here, what I'm going to actually do, in PHP Storm there's a special thing here where you press shift twice and it gives you this little window. This will let you search for anything, whether it's in the code or just in PHP Storm settings. So in this case we're going to go for, let's see, this is the interpreter. And we're going to change the interpreter here. No, we don't want that. CLI interpreter. We'll go here. We don't need to be in Composer, we're going to go up a step, but we're going to go ahead and make a new interpreter. We're clicking these three dots. Checking install, don't care. Going to add a new one here, add path. And we're going to make it visible only for this project because it's only in this project. New PocketMine PHP install, there we go. And we're just going to go right to the executable here, bin, PHP, and php.exe. Quick setup, and it already found the version for us. This is 7.3.12, the most recent one, at least that I've included here, that works with PocketMine. Should be pretty good. Of course, if you have any other settings that you would like to change, then you can click open in editor, and this will give you the php.ini so you can change those settings. So we're going to go ahead and apply that. Again, this is only visible for this project, so you won't see it anywhere else. It's 1 PHP per PocketMine. Because that's 7.3, we're going to go ahead and match this just to make sure that we get all of the best features in PHP Storm working properly. Okay, we'll go ahead and apply that. We're going to sync these up just to make sure the extensions match. Enabled 3, disabled 89. That'll be good just to make sure the IDE isn't doing extra work and slowing you down. And later on we'll go ahead and set the stubs path. But for now, this should be good. We don't need Composer. Composer is already in the FAR, so that'll be all set. Now we are completely ready to start developing. You say, why does my plot have no plot merge? Because plot merge takes a long time, and I'm not interested in working on it. It's a slow and steady process, so if you want it, you can do it. Otherwise, you gotta wait. Okay, so we're gonna make our new plugin here, EzChatMod. And we're gonna go ahead and start off with the basic folder layout. Didn't need to do that one. EzChatMod, here we go. Yeah, if you make a pull request onto the repo, I'll go ahead and review that, and if it works, then I'll add it. If not, then, I mean, you're gonna have to make more changes, but yeah, if you got code, go ahead. And we'll just name this one main because we're starting with it. And here's our namespace, JSON10, EzChatMod, JSON10, EzChatMod. There we go. So that matches. Now we have a pre-generated class. So we got that laid out, and I'm going to go ahead and add just a quick plugin .yml file here. EzChatMod. And this is 0.1.0, and here's our description. I'm going to switch this over to PocketMine. So right now it thinks it's a bucket. PocketMine plugin, here we go, that matches. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my text file here just to read out the plugin idea to you guys. So the whole point is that this is going to be just a generic chat moderator plugin. It's going to listen for any text whenever it's sent over chat, and if it's like duplicated messages, if someone's typing in all caps, or anything spam related there, if it deems it as spam, then that's what we're going to do. So, of course, all of this is going to be completely configurable in a config, so we're going to be doing that. And that should be it. So we're going to go ahead and proceed with this setting. And of course we have a couple other settings there. Once it detects it, we can auto mute the player so that even if they keep typing, nobody else will have to see that and it won't bother anybody. And we're going to design a pretty good API just to make sure it works with other plugins if they want to use it. It'll be entirely up to them. You can get the plugin main instance there, and then they'll be able to proceed with using the API. So we can go ahead and mute the player if they spam by default. Some other options could be kicking or banning, and I'll use PocketMine's native system for that. So by default here, we're going to be tracking it for a set amount of time, or, and this is the one I'm going to really try to do here, is if a number of chat messages by other players between messages are not sent there. So if chat's moving really slow and then this person just all of a sudden spams like a ton of messages, and like nobody else can talk in between them, then it's gonna immediately block that. So, and we're gonna use these in combination here, set amount of time. So if they have like a specific number of messages in like under a second here, where they're just spamming, and nobody else can get a word in, then that's what we'll be doing there. So now that we've got the idea down, we're going to go ahead and proceed here. So I'm going to minimize that, and we'll get to work. I think I put this in the wrong folder. No, I didn't. Did I? No, I didn't. Okay. Getting confused there. Okay, so just with any plugin here, our main file does have to extend plugin base, and this is how we start. Extends plugin base. As you're typing, you'll see PocketMine different classes show up here, and this is because PocketMine can read into the FAR. So we just want to select plugin base, and this is what we start with. Now, your classes will probably show up differently here. I have mine set a little bit customized. I always declare strict types at the beginning, and what this does is just make sure that the type of information you're trying to send, if it's text, it has to be text. If it's a number, then it has to be that number. So by setting this to 1 here, it's going to be very strict about that, and you can't set a number where it's expecting text. You can't set text with the number 1 in it and have it turn into that number. It's not going to work. It has to be set to that type by you, and the computer won't do it automatically. So this is my preference, just to make sure it makes debugging easier, because then you know exactly what is what, and you don't have to make any guesses there. It also allows it to speed up a little bit there, because then PHP doesn't have to automatically convert any types. Okay, DevL, if you have the code, make a pull request on the repository, and I'll review it later. Extends plugin base. So we'll go ahead and get started with this. Public function on enable. And we're going to register this as a listener. First, we do have to implement the listener class. That's listener. Get server, get plugin manager, and then we register events. There's a difference between register events versus register event. So you notice here it shows you what the different well, there's different text here in the function call. In this case, we're just registering the listener class, and it'll automatically go through and find all the events for us. For this one, you have to register the individual function and the listener and the priority and the different executors and everything else there, which is a bit more complicated. We're just going to be easygoing, register events, have it do it for us here. And so we're going to go ahead and fill in our listener. In this case, because we implement listener, it's going to be this class. So we're going to fill this in first. And then the second one here is the plugin itself. And because we implement plugin base, this is the plugin. So it's also going to be this. So now we have both in there. And that's how we start. So right now, we have it start up. It's not going to do anything, but it will register this as a listener class. And that's all we need. So afterwards, everything else is going to be handled when we receive a chat message. Function on chat. And we're going to listen for a player chat event. So on a player chat event, this function will be automatically called, so we don't need to care if this is used or not. So first up, we always want to get the player. And let's actually look in here. What else do we have? We have the message. We have a format. Format usually is chat.type.text. Okay. So this would be like if you... This is just a code that the client will read there. So in your actual game, you know how when you type it and it's got your name followed by the arrow and then your text? You can remove this and then it'd be just your text. No name, no arrow, no nothing else. So you can change this. And I believe Pure Perms and Pure Chat actually do that so that you can reset the chat formatting. In this case, we're not going to really look at that. We just want to handle the message. So that's what we'll be looking into. Message. Okay. So now what do we want to do here? So if we're going to track duplicate messages, I'm actually going to go ahead and start typing this out. So we got to track duplicate messages. We have to track caps locked messages. So we'll track these first. So this is what we're going to listen for. We're going to track duplicate and track caps lock. So we're going to start off with caps lock. And in fact, we'll go ahead and make us our config. There's no need to do anything extra here. PocketMine in the plugin base already creates it for you. Looks for the config. And when it's actually made, let's see. Config file. You see right here it says, so this data for config file. It already has it made for you, so we don't have to do anything extra. And it already goes through and it says, hey, we're going to go ahead and make this config file. We don't need to do anything special. So that's there. All we have to do is make it as a resource. Resources and config. Config.yml. Here we go. So in this file, then we can include anything we want, just the various settings, and we'll be able to have that taken care of for us. So for the settings we want, I'm actually going to go ahead and lay this out. Set amount of time. And of course you have to have the setting for mute, kick, or ban. There we go. So this is basically my to-do list here, just keeping track of it, so that you know what needs done, and as we go through, we'll go ahead and delete these off our list here. But first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and lay out this config. So let's do that. And go ahead and put that on the side. Go ahead and shrink the window down. This does not need to be open so much. Put it right about there. Okay, now let's make us a nice header here. EzChatMod config. So anything after these hashtags is going to be a comment, so it's not going to really be read. It doesn't matter what we type in here. Let's see, track duplicate messages. So let's first off set the tracking methods here. So tracking method. Spam tracking method. And this works based on indents, so after you do that, if you want multiple things, we're going to go over 2, and we're going to put us a sub method here, so duplicates, and we're going to track with that, and caps lock. We are going to track with that. By default, these are just going to be default values here. Let's see. Message timeout true. How do I want to reword this one to make it easier to understand? Simply for configs, because you have a user looking at it, it's always best to make the naming, whatever wording that you put in here, easily known so that anybody can look at it and just know what it means. Now, of course, using less words is probably going to be easier, and there's different, like, there's a whole bunch of other meanings in different languages, so by default, I just use English and make it so that the words are the most easily understood. So, spam tracking method, we have spam, everybody knows what spam is. We are tracking with the spam, and we have the method used to track the spam. So, simple, easy, and it's understandable. And of course, if we don't understand it, then that's what the comments are for here. So we'll do that. Duplicate messages. Multiple times in a row, there we go. Now, vertical spacing doesn't really matter here. You can spread these up and down as much as you want, as long as they do remain indented here with the double space. do we want to put in for this last one here? I guess this is considered talking over the other players, although I don't really want to word it like that. This one's probably going to be the most complicated, so I'm going to say Steam extreme spam. I don't like that wording. I need a word to fill in here. Other player? I guess we could track by other players. Tracking method, other messages. Player messages. Other player messages. Tracks if messages are sent faster than anyone else can talk. Here we go. Cool, so now we got all of these here. So we got our spam tracking method, duplicates, caps lock, message timeout, and it looks nice. This will be nice and neat. So that will look good there. We'll go ahead and package that up with the plugin, and when it's first started up, it'll go ahead and copy the config right into the plugin data folder, so we won't have to worry about that. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and first off, we'll go ahead and finish this chat function just to get it working on a basic level. Move this in here. Yeah, we can work like that. Okay, so we'll do that there. First off, when the player is chatting, so we're going to detect caps lock because that's the easiest. So if message this would be nice and easy. So if message equals string to upper message. So if these are the exact same, then we know the message is completely uppercase. So once we already know that, we want to go ahead and detect the config. This get config get, and then our key. So in this case, it's going to be get nested because it's a nested key here. You can see we have the parent and then we have the nested key. We're going to detect for caps lock, so spam tracking method. We can copy that text. Dot. Because that's what this uses here. It's a dot. So you can look at get nested. It always checks if there's a dot, then it looks for the keys, and then this is the code, but we'll just use this. So spam tracking method is the parent dot, and then here's the nested method caps lock. By default, we're going to set that to true, and then we're going to put that in an if statement. Because this returns a Boolean value, we don't have to set it or do anything manual with that. It'll automatically return true if there's no value there, or what they do here is there's going to be true or false. So if the player's smart enough to realize that, then that'll work. Otherwise, it'll just say true, and that'll be fine too. So we'll work with that. So now that we have verified it is true, I'm actually going to go ahead and move this up. So if we are checking for caps lock and the message is the uppercase message, then we can proceed here. Let's see, punishments. Let's go ahead and do multiple punishments here. So we'll go for each method, do the same sort of thing, and we'll just list out the punishments. So we'll allow them to select what kind of punishment fits. So for duplicate messages, we can just mute the player, mute, caps lock, none, no punishment. If they're spamming like a lot, then we can mute them still here. And mute. By default, we'll just leave it on mute. And we'll go ahead and fill in here. Do mute. Well, yeah, mute, kick, ban, IP ban, or none. So this is what we'll have available here. And I'll just let you know about this too. If you're working on a plugin, it's sometimes better to start on the config so that you know what you want, because then you've already typed it out, it's already here. You can always refer back to this if you don't know what you're doing next. You can consider this somewhat like just an easy to use to-do list, and as long as you can understand it, your players should be able to understand it. Anybody using it should be able to understand it. It'll make it nice and easier on both you and them, so we can always use that. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed and let these be in here. Mute, none, and I'm going to make it easier in the code just for more options, because what if they type an uppercase M? Well, then what? You don't have it working properly, so we're going to leave that to detect, and we're going to make sure that when it grabs the key, it'll always be lowercase there. So next up, switch, and we're going to go ahead and grab the nested switch value here. By default, this one is mute, so we're going to say mute, and we're going to actually string for lower, so this will make the string a lower. And this is punishments. Punishments dot caps lock. So that should be good. Now we have a switch. So this just searches for the individual cases, and we'll be able to work with that. Where's this? That'll be fine. So in the case that we have mute as the answer, then what do we want to do? Well, I'm going to set up an API for that. So in the case that mute is an answer here, we're going to go ahead and say this mute player, and we're going to give him the player. Now PHP Store's not happy because the function that we typed in here isn't actually existing yet. It doesn't exist here. So what we go ahead and do, hold control, or no, I believe it's with your cursor on it here, you see the blinking cursor, you hit Alt and Enter key, and it gives you this little pop-up. What we can do right here is just click it, and it creates the method for us. This is going to be public. And now we have that. We're going to go ahead and import, replace it with an import there so that it shows up here instead. And we'll be able to use that. So now we got this. And we can break that. There we go. Of course, we have other punishments as well. So we'll go ahead and say kick, ban, IP ban, none. And in this case, I want just the default to be mute, so we're going to go ahead and say default is also mute. So if there's no value, then we're going to go to mute. So for kick, what we want to do is this get server. Oh, there's no kick here. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the kick command. I'd like to see how that does it. It's gotta be a good way. Defaults. Kick, here we go. Player kick. Okay, that'll be nice and easy then. Player kick. And the reason. Well, what do we want to do for messages then? Do we want to have a multi-language system, or do we want to have customizable messages? We could do that. We could totally do that. We can go back and do that later. For now, do I want to have a multi-language? We could do that. For now, I think we're just gonna do like a manual message here. So I'm gonna just type it in. I'm not gonna add it to a config. Nothing else. Nothing special. We're gonna have it in English. This is an English plugin. I'm English. We'll just use that. So reason is do not caps lock spam, please. We are not admin, we're gonna say no. Kicked for caps lock spam. There we go. That should be good. So we'll kick them with that. And then this one, it should be set ban. What is this going to do for us? This get server, get name bans, add ban. Okay, so set banned. True. Well, this doesn't really do us any good though, because it doesn't add a reason. Yeah. So I'm going to add a reason for it. So this get server, get name bans, add ban, kick, and it's going to be for the same reason here. String, this should be the player name? Is that how that is? Wait. How does this use it? It's just the player name. reason. Do we want an expiration? Nah, we'll leave that be. Yeah, PocketMine, in case nobody else realized here, there is a built-in expiration system. It's just in the API. There's no manual way to access it, but it does exist. And so if you're ever interested, you can use PocketMine's native system here. There's a date timestamp, and then we have a source. So if it's like a player or something like that, but it's just a string value, you can enter in whatever you'd like. So we're going to go ahead and ban him, then we're going to kick him. And it should be very similar for the IP bans. Get IP bans, yep, add ban, player name, the reason, expire source, yada yada. So we'll go ahead and do that. And of course, if there's none, no, we don't care. Actually, I'm not going to make the default mute. I'm going to make the default none. Do nothing. So now we have our basic tracking here, and we've got that. We've got our mute player API started. So here's what I usually do: is I always move the API specifically for the function up above, just to be sure here. So I want this to return a bool value. So we'll get to this in a sec. So right now we've got caps lock detected. This will be working. And we've got our various methods here for punishments. So this one's done. We have our punishment. We have it set to true. If we start up the server, it should work here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to... Well, first we'll start it. So start.cmd. So we'll open up our terminal. And start. Simple terminal there. And let's check out Minecraft. LAN server. Popped up. So right now we should have a data folder here in the plugin data. Oh wait, no, it's not going to load because we don't have DevTools. Yep, we do need DevTools. I completely forgot, and that's on me. We do need DevTools, so what we're going to do for that is we're going to go to Pocket. Just quickly download that. Releases. Be pretty close to the front up here. DevTools. Yep, here we go. Most recent build, direct download to desktop, PocketMine, plugins, drop it right in there. I'm going to rename it just to make it easier on me. Nice. Cool. Okay, now let's try running it. EzChatMod main class not found. I have to correct the... Okay. Yep, thought so. Try again. So we have EzChatMod started and enabled here, and let's try logging in. Alright, we're in. So far so good. Now, because our mute button, it doesn't really do anything here, I'm going to go ahead and stop it once again just to change the config. Plugin data, EzChatMod. Okay. I had expected that to save, but I guess not. So instead, what we'll do is just a quick... This... save... Default config, there we go. And we'll restart. Now it should be there. Yep, there we go. My mistake, yet again. No, Dylan was working on something for that. Okay, so we're gonna say kick, just to make sure it actually does something so that we can, wait. Kick. There we go. So I'll start it up once again. Okay, so now we should be able to type in all caps. Yeah. Okay. So now we know that works, you see. So it received the message here, it went through the checks, it made sure that if it was the same as uppercase as it was, well, lowercase tested there, then that is the message we see. Now, one other way that we could probably improve this would be detecting a percentage of the message, but for now, I'm just going to leave this be. So we will go ahead and proceed otherwise then. I'll actually shrink that up to there. Got my little guy in the corner. Fortnite Pro, hey bro, what's up, man? To do next. So we already got caps lock messages. Do I want duplicates next? Matsy, what's up, man? Okay, so we already got this tested here. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the mute system since we already have the API in here. So we will go ahead and do that. Now the question is, do I want the mute to last across server restart sessions or across player joins or anything like that? I'm gonna say yes. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a new configuration. This is going to be muted players equals new config. This is going to be in JSON. So let's say config JSON. JSON. And we're going to set this to protected. Okay, so now we have muted players here. So we're muting a player, so can I add a reason? I want to add a reason. Okay, let's add a reason. Reason. Should we add an expiration just like this? Oh, we could totally do that. Let's resume source. Yeah, this could be good. So we'll just make our API match the native API here. That way everything looks similar. Shouldn't be any problems with that. for the target. Now, I'm personally not going to go ahead and do anything extra with the date time here, at least not within the regular functionality. So this will be just an API for any other plugins, and it should be pretty useful, I think. But, okay, so we're going to go ahead and add them to the muted players list. Now, for this, we could actually make a class that extends the band entry. Call it mute entry. That could work. I mean, where does it save the entries at? Nah, I'm not gonna go anything that complicated. That's way too complicated. So we're just gonna add them to the list here. So this, muted players, get all, muted players, add to the list. Let's say target equals followed by, let's see, a reason. I might actually, well, okay, maybe, just maybe. Let's see, last expand remove that band. Entry. We could actually make this the whole class here, so here's what we're gonna do then. So mute list extends band list. Then we're just going to extend some of these functions here. This file. What is this file? It's a constructor. And we're going to go ahead and make a mute entry. So this is how you get the most out of PocketMine if you just extend their classes, because I mean it's pretty good so far. So instead of doing this whole thing, then I think I'm just gonna make a new thing here. So muted player. New mute list. And here's our file. So we're gonna say get data folder, call it muted players.txt. Fairly easy. There we go, now we don't need a config, and we don't need that import. So we could literally just copy the code here and make it nice and easy on this. except we're going to add it to the mute list instead. Oh, this will do. I'm going to copy this then instead, and we'll just say add. Much better. We can unmute the player here. Cool. Well, there's our API. So we have our mute API, and we're going to use ban and kick. This is all native to PocketMine, which makes this nice and easy. So, yeah, why would you have to reinvent the wheel to write a whole system just to mute a player when you can just have it here? So now we have three functions. We have mute player, unmute player, and is muted. And it's all just based on PocketMine's existing code so that we don't have to write around. Nice and easy. Makes it easier on you, and it's still going to work properly here. Muted players, you can easily see if you look in these, usually when they're full, It'll actually have some nice reasoning. It has some nice layouts to it, so there's no need to worry about that. Now, just because we have this, it's going to be in the entry, it doesn't mean it's going to actually mute the messages yet. So we do have to still detect that and track that here. So I'm going to do it before we go through any other checks, just to be sure. If this is muted, get name, then event set canceled, and return. Just make sure we don't have to do anything extra here. So no message processing until we verified if they're muted or not, and this will prevent them from doing anything extra. Unmute player, well, that'd be fine. Okay, so now we have this completely figured out here. We got mute working. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back to mute just to see. So I'm going to stop the server, let it restart since it's on a loop anyway. And now that the config, is the config set up mute? I think I did. I'll give it a try. LAN server. Test. Oh, what'd I miss? Caps lock is mute. Well, we're in the list here. Victim, ban date, ban by, banned until, ban reason. I'm gonna drown. So how does this lay it out? Here it goes, name, date, by, until, and then the reason. Name, date, by, name, date, by, unknown, until, and a reason. Okay. So it lets the one message go through, but then it prevents any others. Okay, so if we're gonna actually mute them, let's event. Set cancel. We'll do this for any of them just to make sure here. So if that's the case, we'll do that. We're still gonna cancel all these events. Just to make sure the chat message doesn't go through. But everything else should be good, so I'll get that out of the way. This will indicate mute works. And because mute's based on the same system as kick or ban or anything else, then this should work there, so test. What? All good. No messages going through. Nothing at all. Perfect. Okay. So we got that in there. Now, that's the first method of detection, if it's all caps. Now, we'll do some other ones here. So we got mute out of the way. The API is done. We can close these off because we know it works. Still working towards our chat event here. So if working on our next one. if duplicates. So now we have to keep a backlog. There we go. Public, there we go. And we'll run our checks in here. So we'll just go ahead and do a quick copy paste job and duplicate message spam. Okay, so now that we're working on duplicates here, we have a couple of things that I have to make sure of. So duplicate message spam, there has to be a sort of limit here on the message itself. So if it's duplicated, how many messages should be duplicated before it becomes an issue? And we're going to keep just a little backlog here. Duplicated. I'm actually going to quickly do a refactor just to rename this. Message duplicated. Good. And we'll make that Boolean. I'm going to go ahead and actually make a folder here just for the mute stuff. And we're going to go ahead and correct this. Mute, mute. And now this one is invalid because we don't need that there, but list and entry list. Okay. So is message duplicated? Well, first we have to track the message here. So let's see. This track message data, and we're going to send it with the player, the message, that's really it. Well, okay, we'll work with that. So this is going to be per session. I don't want it to track or save any data here. So this should be just individual. We're going to go ahead and make a variable for it. Data store. Okay. So we're going to use it with the player name as the key. We're going to increment, and we're going to add the message. If it is duplicated here, there we go. There we go. Okay, so just checking if the message duplicate here. So we're going to get the most recent message from the list. Let's see if that equals message. Wait a minute. It's an array of arrays of strings. And we can just return that value here. So check the message store. If the most recent message is equal to that message, then that's that. I'm actually going to go ahead and check here as well, just to make sure. Just to make sure this is set. Now, PHP is probably the worst language for this type of server, but it was originally developed in PHP just to prove that it could be done. So now that everything else is in here, then this is what we're doing. Yeah, there's clones of the software that are in Java and JavaScript and every other language, so I mean, this is just the original, so that's the reason I'm reusing PHP here. Marvel framework. Yeah, this one was, there's no framework or anything else. This is completely built from the ground up. So, it's got a decent API. This one's just a plugin, to be honest, here. And you get everything in here completely from the ground up. It's crazy. It's still a pretty big mess. It needs rewritten. Same here. Same here. I think, personally, I think PHP is a mess, but it's a forgiving mess. So, I use it for that.
There we go.
I think we're gonna make 3 before it starts detecting it. Okay. The back count there. So we're going to go ahead and cycle through this. Left back how many times, just make sure it all matches. If it's ever not the same, then we don't care. So start with 1, and go to 2, then go to 3, just make sure they're all the same. If they're not, or same. Gonna bother me if it's not right. There we go. Okay. So that works. So for any non-developers watching here, what we're just doing is checking for the message duplicate. We're looking through our message store, which has it's organized by the player name, and it's full of an array of the recent messages here. So what I do want to do is actually make sure that it doesn't expand infinitely. At a limit, we're going to go ahead and start popping off the end here, or popping off the beginning, and re-adding them. If that's the case, then we can't use counts anymore. have to want to reorganize it every time. Well, I guess we'll leave it at infinite. For now, we'll leave it infinitely expanding. The server will have to restart eventually, so it shouldn't be too bad. Especially for just simple testing. I'll go back and do that later. Let's add a to-do for that. There we go. Okay, here we go. Length of time before a message can be posted in seconds. Typically chat on a server moves real fast, so it makes sense to have it very short. Especially if they're spamming. Heck yes. Makes sense to have it short there, so we'll go ahead and leave that as seconds. We'll do timeout length. So right now we have duplicate settings. We're checking for maximum duplicates, and we're pushing that through here. Make sure that is an integer. Everything else looks good here. Tempted to add a command just to manually unmute players because that could be a hassle. It'd be easier than having to go through and manually remove their entry every time. we will leave that alone for now. So right now we're tracking duplicates, we are tracking caps lock. I'm going to go ahead and get on and test it here. Yep, and it's muted me. Cool. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so now we know duplicate messages works. Okay. Now here comes the fun ones. So the timeout is the first, and the second is the number of chat messages by 100 players. Let's see, if they send spam in under a set amount of time, if a number of chat messages by other players is not sent. So we'll do the timeout first. I'm going to make one other available here. Single mute. I'm going to add that. Yeah. Single mute, lowercase, and just cancels the event. Yep, that's all we need there. Tracking method message timeout. And of course we'll go ahead and put the switch in here. Set up the reason. I'm gonna adjust the config real quick here. Let's use timeout. Okay, we don't need this one. Single mute. There we go. And get yep, message timeout there. This is just going to be a countdown incrementer. Should be fairly easy. Date time is going to be now. Timestamp integer. And it's a Unix timestamp. Pretty sure this timestamp counts up, so we're just gonna have it count up with us. Well, do I want to use a delayed task or a repeating task? How much time are we gonna time him out for here? There we go. I'm gonna check the message timeout settings. Go. Well, shoot, do I want to do a repeating task for this, or how do I want to check it? We could just check it to current time, because time's always moving forward. But I don't want to increment it. Okay, so we're just gonna set it. When it first becomes a problem, we're gonna set it the time to timeout. So equals the current timestamp. And later, if timestamp is greater than or equal to, well, it should be less than or equal to, is we're setting it there. Equals to now. There we go. And 0 will always be less than the current timestamp, so there won't be a problem there. So it's going to be if it is greater than. If greater than, we are in timeout. If not, then we are not. Simple as that. No, wait, that's less than or equal to. Just less than. Here we go. Okay, that should be better. And we need to add this one, so it should be greater than. Pretty sure this is in seconds. Is it in seconds? Unix timestamp. I'm gonna assume this is in seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna just assume it's in seconds there. We'll be able to work with that. So, plus timeout length. Minus second. Good, there we go. That'll do. That will do. That will do. Let's just time out this boolean. Check that. By default here it's gonna be a single mute, so we just mute it for that time. I need to multiply it in seconds. So this one will steadily increment every message. And then we'll check if it's on timeout here. the timeout. Okay, so that's all handled. So we're gonna move on to the next one then. This is the last one. Should probably be the most fun as well, I think. Let me go ahead and copy this. So, number of chat messages by other players sent in between. So, I think we can use the message timeout here because we're going to be getting the timestamps from them. Difficulty is when it doesn't match up in seconds. So, now, is the Unix timestamp in seconds or milliseconds? That is what I have to figure out. Wow. Number of seconds, not milliseconds, that have passed since January 1st. Okay, so seconds per second. So this is going to track messages every second. So, okay. So this will track messages every second. So what we can do is get a count of how many messages are in that same second, especially if it's spamming, or if there's any messages with better timestamps, and that is how we can check this. So that should be pretty good. I guess I'll go ahead and add a return statement here just to make sure it doesn't run through everything every time. There we go. Okay. Is conversation. That's what we'll use, so we will check get name as the target and the message. That one should be good. Okay, let's just sort the arrays by the values. array, don't need reverse. Define comparison, keys, nope. Shuffle, nope. Nope. Wait a minute, did I just see end? Internal pointer to an array to its last element. Oh. Return the value of the last element. Well, that's handy. I'm going to go ahead and use it up here. Let's see, is it this? Duplicated. Yep. Well, actually, since we already have look back there, it's not really needed. Oh well, I'll leave that be. Sorting arrays. First order, maintain index, don't care, don't care. So A sort, first off. And what kind of flags we're looking at here? Let's sort by numeric.
Perceives all things conjoined, the past, the future, and the present. Everything flows, and all is connected. This eye is not merely seeing reality. It is
Okay, we'll
touching
sort that array.
truth.
Use the key value pair.
There is nothing to fear.
So right here's a noun. So if value greater than noun,
I see what you mean.
I'm not going to sort it here. I'm going to filter it. That's what we need. Yep, there we go. default it only sends a value here, so int time. Okay, what do we want to name this here? So this is possible conversations or in-between messages, so okay, so participants. There we go. If they're in a conversation, there we go. And that's all there is to it. So we'll go ahead and copy down the whole message bit again. Okay, I'm also going to use the timeout settings for this one, just because we can't have it, well, okay. Yeah, we gotta give it a little bit of leeway here. We'll call this conversation tracking. is the last one here. So we'll rename that back to what it should be, conversation. If a member of chat messages and other players... This is, the conversation thing is like a layer on top of message timeouts. So, if they're spending it too fast and...
You know, love is an incredible thing, and we don't know love like we should.
Okay, so here's what I want to do then. I'm gonna put this inside message timeouts. Good. I've used that a little bit since it's already in place. Conversation. We're already checking for timeouts. There we go. Tricky. We don't care about now, we care about that message. Gotta figure out how do I want to do that. So we're tracking the conversation here. If they're in a conversation, then we are tracking that. There we go, we'll do a 1 second minimum. That should do it. This is just to make sure they're actually typing out the messages. So we don't need anything else here. I can actually go ahead and move this back out because simplicity. That looks good to me. Okay. Yeah, so conversation. Usually what you would want to do is look through a backlog of previous chat messages, but for this case, I'd rather not do that because then you have to design a whole system about that. And specifically if you want to save memory like properly, then you don't want to have everything infinitely saving. In this case, everything is already infinitely saving, but we're not saving it with timestamps, so we won't bother doing that. I would have to design a whole third system there, and then we'd have double messages, one with player name, one with timestamp, and it'd just be bad. So this is why we're just checking it here. We're checking it against the timestamp itself rather than the message. So this should be working at the moment. We are checking for the 4 different things I wanted to here: caps lock, duplicates, message, timeouts, and a conversation, if they're talking in a conversation. And we have our messages in for each one. Let's see. I need to reword this here. Typing too fast for a conversation. There you go. Okay, we will go ahead and go back up the line here. What does the plugin? Well, this one is a chat manager, or chat moderator, I guess. So, whenever a message is sent, it goes through all the checks, and this is going to be this whole stream is going to be posted on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it later if you're interested. But from start to finish, this is how to set up. No, it is not pure chat, not even close. Completely different. Pure chat is there for making messages look pretty. This is there for blocking spam. Quick and simple. You can have a look at the config here. So we're tracking spam messages, and depending on the different ones, we'll block it, kick them, mute them, do whatever. We got a couple different methods of punishing them, so whatever works. Now, I do have to add a method of unmuting players, because this could be problematic. Single mute. Will there be a my plot stream again? Yeah, eventually. Eventually. I think that just about checks everything off my list here. The only thing you have to do is unmute, or have a method of unmuting the players here. So we will go ahead and have this here. Is there a messages config? Not yet. I made it very easy, so I'm going to go back and add translations and messages and stuff like that. But for right now, there's not, so it'll take just a bit of time to get that re-added. If you add it, I can translate to German. Yep, I'll be looking into getting that. I mean, it's fairly easy to add. All you have to do is set the reason. Right now it's just hard-coded this text, but I could easily add translations, just gotta pull from the whatever translation file there, so it's not that hard. Should be fairly quick, but I'm gonna post this on Pocket real quick. Go ahead and get that closed. I'm Hotep. Hello. What's going on? There we go. I'm going for about 2.5 hours now, so we're just about done with the plugin. I gotta unmute the player eventually. Expires. No. Get config, get nested, get the mute settings, and then the timeout length. By default, it's going to be 10 seconds. Okay, what's the spec I gotta put in here? This is seconds. Okay. Date interval create from string. There we go. That's nice and easy. Now we're adding from current time plus the number of seconds there. Cool. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a quick test here. Start up the server. Blocked for caps lock spam. Cool. Oh, the double question mark? That is, so this right here checks if expires is null. In this case, by default it is. So if it is null, then use the secondary value here. That's what it does. So if null, then blah. Use that. So in this case, it doesn't have to be null. That's why we use this here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on GitHub. ECS, let's see, create git, EzChatMod, okay, git add everything, Control K, let's see what we have in here. Okay, so here's our main file. We're committing everything here. Caps lock. Don't need to do any extra checks. I know my code's good. Commit. Okay. Now I just have to share the project on GitHub. I want it to be a public repository. Let's go EzChatMod and the origin. Oh yeah, I have yet to write a description. Okay, hold on. Easy plugin for blocking server chat spam. Well, I'm about to release it just now. Easy plugin for blocking server chat spam. Here we go. Okay, so VCS. Share. EzChatMod. Okay, we're going to go ahead and create the repository, push it. Nice, nice. And here's the repository it made for us. All good there. We can add a Readme later. So now that it's made, we have our resources plugin. Everything's there. I'm going to go ahead and unpog it. And we will add it here as well. Let's see. Dev, add repo. And everything on the side here. Right down at the bottom, EzChatMod, turn it on. Want to build every branch just in case, but everything else looks good there. I do want an icon eventually. Icon.png. Okay, we'll add that. Building at the top. Is it in? Yep, it's right there. Okay, it should be right at the front of the dev section. No, not yet. My projects. Did it not get added? What am I missing here? Huh, didn't add. That's not good. Build by default. If it worked, it should add a webhook here. Yeah, it's there. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and push some other changes to it. Let's add a Readme. File. Markdown. There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow the description from one of my other plugins here. Simple replies, that's a good one.
You know something? Everybody is always waiting for everybody else to take a test because they're so afraid.
There we go. EzChatMod. Features. Automatically protects your server from spam messages. Completely configurable. I've got no, well, future editions here. Multi-link support, just for multiple languages and messages there. This plugin was made on stream, yada yada yada. Let's say append. Let me see, how did I do that one? And now insert plug for stream. I'll go back and find the YouTube video and enter that here. Okay, everything looks good. EzChatMod, everything else is there. Okay, go ahead and push this up there. Actually, real quick, since we have stuff on the repo, I'm going to go ahead and pull that down. Good. Now we push. Good. And commit that, or push that and then commit it. We're back on the repo. Okay. So right here should be, yep, there it is. Check out Pocket. Cool. So now you can see, here's the build we made, 3.1 kilobytes. And everything's there. So first release, this is going to be right there. EzChatMod plugin for blocking server chat spam. Description. So, of course it would. Okay, let's steal this one. Delete some excess links. Put that one right there. That should be good. EzChatMod is a plugin which adds. I totally forgot to change that one. Chat spam messages. Nice and easy. It tells you what it does. It's completely automatic here. It's got configurable settings. So we got the config, multi-language support. It's a future edition. It's not there yet. And we have our about section mentioning the stream. There we go. Version 0.1.0. I'm just going to leave that for now because it's not completely done yet. And chat related, admin tools, and I guess it's anti-griefing. Everything else looks good. Keywords, chat, spam, block, message, common terms. No dependencies, no manual setup, most recent API that works. I do need a license. Okay. I had to put a license on it. Yep. Let's go to the GitHub page for that. Actually, real quick, I'm going to fill out the rest of this and save it as a draft. I'm not managing plugins, role, permissions, entities. There's no management here. Nothing yet. Okay, let's add some bypass permissions. Add those later. Okay, everything else looks good. Save as draft. Yep, we're gonna save this as a draft first. Good. Go to repository, add a license. Master branch. Create. License, choose template. GNU GPL v3. Okay. Check out the dev builds here. Number 2 should be coming in. Where's it at? Come on, where's it? Why is it not building? Something happened? It's sent. Pocket, what you doing? Redeliver it. Yep. Do it again. There it goes. Looks like it skipped. That was weird. Okay, well, we will release this one now that we have our template in there. We already have a draft. Everything else will be filled out for us. We just have to submit our license. Detect. Junior GPL v3, good. This look good, look good. Okay. Next, we can add an icon, or I can leave it like this. Let's see. Anti-message spam. Go to images. Let's just snag this one real quick. See the image file. Right there. Icon.jpg. Okay. Wait, if it's a JPEG. It's a JPEG. They included the... it's stupid. Open image in new tab. Yeah, it's a JPEG. You can see all the back and everything. Well, that's not good. That ain't gonna work. Anti-spam. Is this one PNG? Yes, it is. Icon.png. There we go.
Nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love.
Save this as a draft yet again, so we have double draft there. Yep, this should be good. So pirate.yml doesn't need updated, we just need to add that. Don't need the JPEG, we're going to save PNG. Add that to Git. Commit that to Git. And push it to the repository. Cool. Refresh, should be on here. Yep, icon, good. And is it on here? Yeah, this one loaded, good. Okay, submit. I think missing an E. R-E-Q-U-S-T. Nice typo. I'm gonna save that one. Okay, come on, submit. Anti-spam, here we go. It's probably gonna shift over to a 5/12. Everything else looks good. Looks good. Chat spam, yep. Features, all good. Good. Okay. There we go. That one's there. Let's refresh this real quick. EzChatMod. So that's how you release it to Pocket 2. So this whole stream, I guess, we started from nothing, we built our plugin up, and now we have it released on Pocket. So there's your setup there from start to finish, including a little bit in here. Now, personally I was just using Git, but I never really explained how to set that up. So in here in the settings, There's a search here, you just type in git, and it'll find it for you. Once you find it, you just find your git.exe. It should auto-detect it if it's installed by git. If not, then you can manually find it in here, but this will allow you to do whatever you want. And that's really it. So there you go. There's your git setup there. And that said, I don't think there's anything else that I have to do. This is on Pocket now, so you should be able to look it up. Pocket. I'll go back and do some future editions later here, so we can do those on stream, or we could not. Leave a comment down below if you believe that would be good. So I'm also planning to do some more live streams in the future, just simple stuff, and I'm actually going to try editing down these videos for you guys just to make it a bit easier, although at least to cut out the boring parts, you know, like just cut around parts that I was just left thinking stuff, so we'll see how that goes. But with that, we are almost at the 3-hour mark, and we'll see here. So I think I'm still going to leave this one as a fully uploaded video, and then I'm going to try to cut it down and post them alongside each other, just for comparison. I'd like to see what you guys think on that. We'll see how it goes, though. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream here then. Don't see much else there is to do. We got it submitted, everything else. Any questions, once again, leave them in the comments, or top link in the description there is to my Discord server. Go ahead and click on it, join us. It's also, funny enough, it's also right here on the repository, so if you ever see this video and you want to go, right here's the link. Just click on it, come in, join us in the Discord. I'll be able to help you out if you're ever having plugin like questions, development related questions. I mean, I'm here. I'm not gonna give you everything. You gotta think about it for a little bit there, but I mean, as long as you're learning. That said, thanks guys for watching once again, and I will see you in the next one.